Are you studying for the CISSP certification right now? Are you thinking about starting to study for the CISSP certification exam? If so, this video is for you. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the changes coming to the CISSP exam and why you need to take it right now. But first, welcome to the channel or welcome back. My name is John Good, and on this channel, we talk all about cybersecurity. If you enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you think of any questions, leave them in the comments section below. Also, make sure to check out the description for more training and resources. All right, let's do this. If you know anything about cybersecurity certifications, then you've almost certainly heard about the CISSP certification. It's the gold standard when it comes to cybersecurity certifications, and it's the one that everybody aims for in their career. The main reason is that jobs and employers that require the CISSP are usually the best kind of jobs that pay the most money, and we all love more money. Literally, if you go to Indeed right now and you search for jobs with the CISSP, you'll easily see over 20,000 job postings. All right, so I've pulled up Indeed, and I want to show you what comes up when we search for CISSP. So we'll go ahead and search for that. And as you can see, 23,772 job results for the CISSP certification. So let's take a look and see which kind of jobs actually came back to us. So we have this Infrastructure Analyst 1. So this is one of those interesting situations where this is probably more of an entry-level job, but it does list the CISSP certification. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different ones that are in there. If we keep scrolling down here, let's see what other kind of jobs that we get. So we have a Security Controls Assessor, and this would be kind of like an auditor kind of job. And again, we see a bunch of different certifications related to that. So CISA, CISSP, the CISM, the CRISC, the CAP. Scroll down here, we get the Information Security Manager. And because the CISSP is really focused on those managerial level jobs, that's why we're going to see that with this search result. And if we scroll down here, and actually too, you can see the salary because this is with Indeed, so they're going to list it. So $164,000 to $237,000 a year is what they're listing this job as for a manager of authentication services within IAM. So again, this is going to be very leadership focused. So management of services, drive the integration of posture validation, define goals, lead through organizational scale, and a lot of managerial kind of tasks. And if we scroll down here, we'll see a lot of other high-level kinds of jobs, again, with really good salaries that they're paying. Before we get into some of the changes, let's talk about the evolution of the CISSP so you can understand why the changes should motivate you and why you should take the exam right now instead of waiting. For those that don't know much about the CISSP certification, it stands for the Certified Information Systems Security Professional, and it's developed by ISC². The certification itself basically covers anything you can think of regarding cybersecurity, but it's meant for those senior level professionals or management level professionals. That means that it doesn't dive too deep into any one particular area, so you need a broad understanding of how things work. I'm not going to dive too deep into the specifics of the certification itself because I have lots of videos on that you should watch comparing the CISSP and other certifications, also how to pass it really quickly, and common ways that people fail when they're trying to go for the CISSP certification. For those that don't know, I am CISSP certified, so I'm not just some random person giving advice on something that I know absolutely nothing about. I took the exam back in 2015, and it wasn't nearly the same format as it is today. That original format was 250 multiple choice questions that were frequently written in paragraph format instead of the single quick fact-based questions, and a lot of them were very ambiguous, which made things fairly challenging when you're taking the exam. Ultimately, my exam version had up to 6 hours to finish all the questions. Luckily, my exam version was taken on the computer, but not that long before that, you actually had to take it on paper, which is an even bigger pain. If you haven't seen my video on how I passed the CISSP in 2 weeks, I would definitely check that video out. Now, a few years ago, ISC² changed the CISSP version so that it's CAT, or Computerized Adaptive Testing format. That means that every question that you answer impacts future questions and the score that you can get. So for example, if you answer a question correctly, the next question is going to be more difficult. If you answer a question wrong, the next question is going to be easier. This keeps going until the computer can basically predict what your score is going to be based on enough information. This version, which is still the current version, you get 100 to 150 questions and you have 3 hours to finish the exam. Honestly, that's a way better format than when I took it. And keep in mind that not all these questions count towards your score. They use these kind of research questions where they're testing things out for future exam questions. And so you're getting asked things that they might be too difficult or too easy, and they'll adjust them for later exam versions. Okay, so the new changes coming to the exam starting on June 1st, 2022. It's going to be 125 to 175 questions, with 50 of those questions not counting towards your score instead of 25, and you'll get up to 4 hours to complete the exam. The overall content and exam objectives aren't changing, so don't think that's a factor in the decision. Now, as somebody that's personally taken a lot of certification exams, coached a lot of professionals, and taught even more professionals, typically more exam questions and longer length exam windows don't work in your favor as a test taker. Now, it's true that if you were close and you had more questions, maybe you could possibly push your score into a passing score, but I just don't think it's worth the chance. When I see these kind of changes on the exam, it makes me think that ISC squared isn't necessarily getting extremely accurate results, and they actually need to provide the system with more information, so more questions, so it can make a realistic judgment on if you should pass or fail. Personally, I think it works more in your favor if you have less questions than more, but I'm also more aggressive when it comes to feeling ready for an exam. Of course, if you can't afford a retake or your employer is paying for it, you might want to be a little bit more cautious with your exam attempt. Also, if you're barely passing practice exams or questions, I would probably wait because you need those extra questions. To give you some example scores on practice tests, if you're scoring 80% or better, take the current exam format before it changes. If you're scoring 75% or better, personally, I would take the current exam version, but there is some risk with that number, and you'll see some variance in how well you score in the exam. If you're scoring 65% to 75%, you might be better off with the new version unless you can increase your score more. Last, if you're scoring under 65%, you've got a ways to go in studying, you need to take that new version. There's no question that the CISSP isn't inexpensive or cheap when it comes to certification exams, and you need to have a plan no matter which version that you're taking. Question of the day: are you going to take the current version of the CISSP exam, or are you going to wait for the new version? When are you going to test? Let me know down in the comment section below. In this video, we talked about the upcoming changes to the CISSP certification exam for cybersecurity and why you need to take it right now. Everybody's different in how they approach the exams and how they decide if they're ready or not, but as a CISSP certified professional, I hope you'll at least listen to my advice. As always, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the description for more training and resources, and I'll see you next time.